Hey YouTube, Vermont Prepper here. I just wanted to go over a little bit about my take on the coronavirus, like many other people out there on YouTube. I'm watching the events unfold, and as of today, we have about 35,000 people worldwide that are affected, most of it in China, but quickly becoming an epidemic of some sorts by spreading to other countries. Here in the U.S., it's still not really that bad, and uh, the government is saying that we have a very little chance of catching this kind of thing because of the controls we have in place. I think right now we have, it's a little windy here in Florida. I'm in Florida right now. But we have 11 airports where I believe people from China are being diverted to and checked for coronavirus. The problem is, I don't know if they're being quarantined or not. I really didn't follow up on that. I believe they might be, but I'm not sure. In any event, the coronavirus, you can actually, from what I understand, pass it even when you're asymptomatic, meaning you don't have to be sick in order to transmit it. I have seen like a number of videos in China that have leaked out, and it's hard to really figure out what is true and what's not true. So, from my take, you know, I've seen enough to see that it's more serious than I believe the Chinese are letting people know about. And the reason why I think that is because you see various individuals in hospitals and on the street. You see one nurse was saying that she believes there's up to 90,000 infected. Then you see the Chinese arresting people to get checked, and I believe that's been confirmed in mainstream media. So, and they've also quarantined 50 million people. Now, to me, the coronavirus is not a regular type of virus or some kind of regular type of flu response that the Chinese are doing, because you just don't quarantine 50 million people for the heck of it. That's a lot of people, and that means to me that they feel that this virus, and there's my brother's dog Buddy, they feel that this virus is worse than is being reported, right? You're seeing people in the hospitals on the floor. You're seeing body bags in ambulances. There's reports of the Chinese burning bodies. Who the heck knows what's true or what's not, but whatever the case may be, my belief is that it's worse than what they're saying. Worldwide, you're seeing a shortage of masks, the real good masks. I mean, right now you see a lot of people wearing those surgical masks, which do absolutely zero to contain or prevent you from getting the virus. This particular virus will pass through N95 masks, from what I understand. It's the molecules are very small, down to 0.12 microns, meaning that you really need a P100 mask to protect yourself from the small molecules of the virus, as well as some eye protection, because it's believed that the virus can pass through the eyes as well, and who knows where else. I was able to get, I mean, I had some P100 masks. I have a bunch of N95 masks, and by all means, if you have the N95s, they're much better than nothing. I mean, they'll prevent some of the virus from going through, but if you get the real small molecules, not so sure. In any event, I got a couple P100 masks maybe a couple weeks ago, and they're like 10 bucks each. Now they're like 30. I saw it just on Amazon. And likewise, I ordered some of the Augustin food emergency. I'm sorry, that's Sarasota Airport. I'm in Sarasota, very close to the airport. I ordered 3 of those 30-day emergency pails of Augustin Farms food, the dehydrated food. I had a bunch of them, but I felt like I wanted some more. I have enough probably right now for about 6 months or more for a family of 4. But I ordered 3 more just for the heck of it, and I paid $104. Now, I don't know what the heck happened to it, but the guy refunded me. It never got to me. It went somewhere in Michigan, so I bet you he shipped it to a wrong spot and just refunded me for it. And now they're upwards of $160 each, and those are the ones that are the 307 servings. There's 2 of them that are 30-day emergency for Augustin Farms, and they're actually, one is 200 servings, so you got to really watch. It's cheaper. It's around $100. And then there's the other one, which is 307 servings, also 30-day, and I don't know how they get the difference there and keep it the same title as 30 days, but 307 servings is around $160 now. And just a month ago I looked at them and they were like $99 or even $92, and I paid as low as $65 for them at one point. But in any event, if you don't have some dehydrated food, it's probably a good idea to stock up on some. CDC recommends that you have at least 2 weeks worth of food and water at the minimum, right? If you could afford more, you might want to go ahead and get some more. At this point, I'm not really panicking, right? But I'm definitely monitoring. There's a lot of reports. So I'm monitoring what's going on, but not panicking. I'm being smart about it. And, you know, I've already had a lot of things in my inventory. So, you know, I even have the full Mira suits, the Mira safety suits. I have other Tyvek suits. I have the full face masks with the 20-year Mira canisters, the 40mm canisters. I mean, I have respirators, not with the air, but I have, you know, like painter's respirators with some P100 filters. So I'm in pretty good shape, but I think there's a lot of people out there where this has kind of caught them off guard and they really don't know what to do. I would say go to your local Walmart. Maybe there's some things that are coming in as far as, like, you know, even if you can get the N95s, don't waste your money on the surgical masks. They're not doing you any good. The only thing that they do is they probably prevent when somebody actually has it, when they sneeze or whatever, from, you know, spewing out a bunch of virus into the air. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the death rate. So right now, the reported death rate is 2%, and that's a pretty low rate. But you're seeing a lot of cases. Like if you compare that to the SARS epidemic, severe acute respiratory syndrome, back in 2002, 2003, there were only 8,000 people worldwide that were affected, but I believe you had about a 10% death rate. Well, this one has a 2% death rate, and it just surpassed the amount of deaths that SARS did. But again, SARS was much more deadly. The thing that we have to kind of be watching is for mutations, right? This is and RNA-based viruses, they can mutate very, very quickly, and it doesn't take very much. They adapt and they survive. That's why they become dangerous. So who knows what happens if, you know, if it mutates into something like a SARS type of virus, or I don't know if SARS was a virus or not, but it's something like that. As far as the death rate's concerned, that's the time to really start making some moves, right? You know, you see reports of people already bugging out, you know, other preppers bugging out, and they're all up in arms about this. I'm not quite there yet, and I live most of the time in Stowe, Vermont. So really, I don't really get worried about being rural, or because, you know, in a rural environment you don't get the transmission, right? And viruses do like the cold a little bit better. They like the cold weather. They don't really thrive in the warm weather as much. So that's one thing you got to worry about. But you know, there's not very many people in Vermont. In Vermont, you have neighbors, but they're not very close together. So in any event, I feel at this point, you know, keep monitoring the news. Don't believe everything that you hear from the Chinese government, especially. I am a proponent of listening to what the CDC has to say. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there that say, you know, the CDC does not want the public to panic, and that's true to a certain extent. But at the same time, we have to trust some kind of information coming out of somewhere, right? And you know, you're all smart enough to probably sift through the BS, but I tend to follow the CDC, and I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists that believe that everything the government says is a lie. You have to have some form of government to have a functioning society, and you know, the US government is better than most. Okay, so in other countries I'm not so sure, but you know, the US government, I believe you'll find the most truth out of it. And yeah, if it gets worse, who knows what they're going to do. But it's, to me, it's pretty bad in China right now. I think there's probably at least double the amount, if not more, people that are infected. And you know, maybe the Chinese are just going overboard, but I doubt it. You just don't quarantine 50 million people for nothing. So in any event, I wish you all well, and just keep monitoring. And you know, this is what prepping is all about, to just be prepared of everything, you know, for everything, for every kind of outbreak or natural disaster or whatever. And I've always said, if you saw my other videos, that a pandemic is the most likely case or scenario of you know, apocalypse type scenario that you can that is most likely to happen, right? So just be vigilant on it. Make sure you research it, and make sure you have the things available or someplace to go safe if something does get worse. And make sure your family has good contact plans, etc. As always, I really appreciate everybody watching. You know, click the subscribe button. Every now and then I'll post some updates on this, but I don't want to get too crazy about it right now. I just want to kind of point out, oh, that's right, this is the other thing that I thought was pretty interesting. I'm not sure if you all, I'm sorry, this is off the top of my head here. I just saw this a couple weeks ago. The dean of chemistry, and I believe it was Harvard, got arrested. And really interesting timing. He got arrested for doing research of in Wuhan, right, where the virus is located, doing research in Wuhan for the Chinese, and he was lying about it. And he was doing research for new biopharmaceutical type of facility, and he was helping them, I guess, build it out. But the timing of the arrest was very suspect, because it was right when the Wuhan virus was, you know, it's still in the news media, but right when the news media started picking it up, You see this guy, and I forget his name. I posted an article about it, but just search Harvard chemistry dean arrested, and you'll see. I mean, this guy was right in Wuhan, and he was doing research from the Chinese. He was getting paid 50 grand a month, and he was lying about his involvement. And I believe that he got arrested because of, number one, of him lying, but also I'm not sure if there was some kind of technology transfer issue there, where you don't want the Chinese to get their hands on certain technology regarding biopharmaceuticals. But there was really very sparse information on it. But I thought that was fairly interesting, on particularly the timing, which, again, if you're a conspiracy theorist out there, you would say, hey, did something leak out of one of these facilities, right? Did they make a mistake and something leaked out, and now we have this epidemic going on in China? Again, I don't know enough to really understand if that's the case, but another thing to just keep monitoring as far as the source is going. The source is concerned of the virus. Right now they're saying it was from that market that sells live animals, and from what I see is, snakes and other kind of reptilian type of animals may have been the source of it. But I just thought it was really interesting that this guy happened to be in Wuhan doing research for a big facility, and they do have a big facility there that deals with these biopharmaceutical molecules, or medicines, or viruses, or whatever they're doing over there. And he just gets arrested when he comes back to the United States. So now he's in custody, and maybe he's out on bail. Who the heck knows? I haven't really followed it since after, but I thought it was really interesting. In any event, Google the guy, and maybe you could provide me some updates in the comments below. But anyways, sorry for that little anecdotal thing at the end, but that was something that I just thought of off the top of the head. Anyways, thanks again for watching. Hit the like, subscribe. I always enjoy comments from everybody. And always keep prepping. Vermont Prepper out. Take care.